Starting to feel it, man. I'm starting to get ready for Sunday. A division matchup, Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens, everything that the Cleveland Browns want to do, you got to go through them. Watson is back. He's healthy. He's got the one game under his belt. All excuses are off the table. And that is probably the best thing that I can say getting ready for the show this morning, gearing up, getting ready for Sunday, is that there is a football game to be played on Sunday. And there's going to be 16 minutes of a game that I can sit back and just thoroughly, I hope, enjoy and watch and just know my team is a good team. We're facing another good team, and I expect this to be a very close game, a back-and-forth matchup, and you're watching some of the best. You are watching arguably two of the best defenses in the NFL go at it. You are watching potentially the front runner for the MVP in Lamar Jackson, and I get to see what Deshaun Watson's got. This is finally the game that we can put him out there and say, this is it. This is why he is here. For the money, for the picks, for all of that. That is the reason that Deshaun Watson is here, is to win games like this. I know it's a mid-season, regular season game. This isn't the AFC Championship game. But to me, it's about as damn close as it could be. I am super fired up for Sunday. We're ready to go. Lamar's getting hyped up. We're going to hear from Deshaun Watson, some questions on the Browns' offensive line, mid-season grades. We got a hot and heavy bracket. We got a question that Ryan is going to have to expose himself on just a little bit. We'll get to all that this morning right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning. A happy Thursday to all. Take you up to 11 o'clock this morning. We are slammed. We got a lot of Browns we're going to get to. I'm like, oh, man. Yes. Like, I don't know why. Something about today. Do you know Thursday is my favorite day of the week, friend?
Why is that?
I don't know. Friday and Saturday are easy, right? Sundays are fine, especially football season. There's something about Thursday. It really started in college because it was Thirsty Thursday. It was $2 beers at the one bar in Baldwin Wallace's campus. And frankly, to be honest with you, it was Jersey Day in my house, in my college house. We watched Jersey Shore every Thursday night at my college house. We watched Jersey Shore, have a few beers, head out for the evening. Great time.
Do you have a favorite Shore member?
I mean, you can't deny the situation because, I mean, like, come on. Everybody loved Vinny. You know, Ronnie's a psycho.
Yeah, he is.
Snooki was fine. Nobody really liked Sammy.
JWoww?
I didn't like JWoww. There was something about JWoww that I found her annoying. Of course, Angelina and who was the other chick? Oh, Deanna, right?
Yeah.
The situation is it, man. And if you ever go back, because now it tells you how old I am now, where like the original Jersey Shore when it started, now they're on family vacations and they're bringing Sammy back. I don't watch any of that crap. It's done. It's over for me. That was the height of MTV, in my opinion. But yeah, everybody loves the situation. If you're ever interested, go back. They have a behind the scenes. I think it's on YouTube, and they have the casting director and what they looked for in these. You got to look for specific people. And they said Guido, juice heads, you know, the Guidettes, all that kind of stuff that they were looking for on the show. And they talk about when they found Mike, the situation. And they were like, that him and Paul, oh, I mean, okay, you can't deny Pauly D. Everybody loves Pauly D. So I would say it's between the situation and Pauly.
That show spawned my favorite term of all time. And I don't use it because it's disrespectful, obviously, but grenade.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gym tan laundry. I mean, it was a time to be alive, Ryan. I'll just put it that way. It was a time to be alive. You know that Vince McMahon gif that's going around where he's sitting there? That's the caption is like, what was it like to sit down in 2009 and watch Jersey Shore before going out to the bars? What a time. How did we start with Jersey Shore? Oh, Thursday is my favorite day of the week. That's why.
Shore day.
It is not my favorite Thursday night football game tonight. Good Lord, what a horrible game that is. We'll get to our picks with Tipico coming up. Our bracket is very close on one side. It is your favorite music video of all time. What'd you say? Sledgehammer and
California Love.
California Love. I retweeted it at Matt Fontana83. It's at Matt Fontana Show. Video's up. We're having a little technical problem this morning. The video should be up and rolling, streaming there. So vote on that. We'll get to Time Hop. Do I got to talk about Harbaugh again today? because there's more news. They didn't file that paperwork yesterday that they were supposed to. So now it comes back that it's going to be today. We'll get to that. I want to talk about the Cavs last night, not just because of my account on Tipico, but I'm very frustrated by that game. A lot of turnovers for the Cavs last night. They just didn't look like themselves. I guess that's what you expect, but I'm going to start need to see a little bit more out of the Cavs. So we'll talk a little wine and gold coming up. We have sound from Lamar Jackson, and he's touting his defense. And we'll certainly get to this offensive line situation where there's some scuttlebutt that they could flip DeJuan Jones back over. We know Joe Bitonio was an option at left tackle with James Hudson. We'll get to all that, but we start with just this game on Sunday. This is part of the reason that you're a fan. Games like this. You strive for your team to compete for championships, and that is the fun. But part of that journey is when you have regular season games that mean something. Football is just fun because you only play one game a week, and it's a long season, but only the 17 games. Basketball, there were games that we got excited to watch LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love play on Christmas Day against the Warriors. Baseball, it's one of the things hurting baseball, in my opinion, is regular season games, you just can't get hyped for that. You just can't. It's always a 3-game series. It's such a long season, all that kind of stuff. Hockey is fun in the playoffs, too. But football has that. When you can circle games and have a feeling that those could be potential playoff matchups again down the road. And then when you factor in that it is the Baltimore Ravens, they're in our division, we know the history, like I cannot tell you how excited I am for this game on Sunday. And I know that Baltimore is a very good team. Ryan, the line is to 6. The line is to 6 now.
Oh, you're good. Yeah. Forgot I muted myself while I put on my coat so nobody had
It's not that cold in here.
I think that's actually a really fair line.
See, that's yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. From the line maker standpoint, I want to say bookie. Or not bookies. These are legitimate organizations here.
Yeah.
We'll talk to Sonny about that tomorrow, as we always do from Tipico, but I think that is a fair line taking it out. Do I wish it was like 3 or 4? Because then that would indicate that this is a little bit of a closer game. And Vegas will put that line out because I'm sure there's a lot of people riding Baltimore. What is one of the things as we wake up and get ready for this game, people are jumping on this Baltimore bandwagon. They are saying, man, look at this team and how good they're playing on defense. Lamar Jackson is the front runner for the MVP right now. It's crazy to say you have 2 of the favorites in your division. Joe Burrow has skyrocketed back up to conversation there. You would believe that maybe Deshaun Watson can get back into that one day. He's not there yet. But that's kind of the level where I know Baltimore feels that. They feel the big games. For the Browns, I haven't had that yet this season. I really haven't. The opener against Cincinnati was close, right? And then that game was kind of sloppy, but even that had the overarching Burrow's hurt. It didn't really feel that way. Thursday night against the Steelers, or no, was that Sunday night? Whatever game that was against the Steelers. I think it was Sunday night or Monday or whatever it was. It was a night game. I remember that. That game was like the Steelers are good, but you really don't know. And then I didn't have any juice. I had no juice for that Tennessee game. I certainly didn't have any juice for that Cardinals game. And I think a little bit for Seattle. And then San Francisco was like a shocking win. And I had nothing for the first Baltimore game. You know, that's a conversation to be had about what can you take away from that first Baltimore game. And the answer for me is nothing. I flushed that game. And even on the positive side, I kind of flushed the Arizona game last week. There wasn't much that I took away from it. Watson looked better. I was happy to see that. Defense played well. And for that first Baltimore game, I kind of flushed it away. So now I get ready for this game, and I haven't felt this way for a game all year. All year. And I'm like, dude, man, am I jacked. I am so excited for this game on Sunday. And it's going to be a test. It's going to be a hard game. This is not going to be a rollover type game. I hope that this is no bigger than a touchdown game the entire way out. And there's ways for the Browns to get a win. I know there are. And I'm excited for it. We come back to Deshaun Watson. And we're going to post this as our Twitter question this morning at Matt Fontana Show. Is this the biggest game in Deshaun Watson's Cleveland career? Is this the biggest game that Deshaun Watson has played in or will play in to this point of his career? Now, we hope that there's bigger games to be had and playoffs and all that. But for right now, I feel like this is it. And I'm sorry to say that for me, I'm putting everything on this game. I guess I shouldn't say I'm sorry. I'm not apologizing for that. I am putting everything that I have, not on my Tipico bets, but I'm putting everything that I have emotionally and in a fandom standpoint on this game for Sunday, mostly on Deshaun Watson. This is the type of game that he is here for. This is the reason the Browns made that trade and they have built this team up. Frankly, all the other games are gone. Like, that's the exciting thing. Now we turn it over to this game. And that's why I'm so happy. I sent the tweet yesterday, Ryan. I didn't have to sit around on a Wednesday and go, man, I wonder if Deshaun Watson's going to practice today or what's his status for Sunday. I'm sure they're managing that shoulder, but I know he's going to play. Excuses are out the window. I've got nothing left for it. Play the game. It's the exciting thing. Play the game. I want to see it. I want to see him out there. I want to see him making plays. And if it's too much that I'm expecting that, like people say, oh, he's still only 70%. I don't care. I don't care. He's good enough to play. And this is the game that I need him to show up for. I need Deshaun Watson to show me and prove to me that this is the reason he is here. I'm a Browns fan through and through. I will be for my entire life. I, at this point of the Deshaun Watson era, don't have a lot of confidence that this is going to work out. Now, my door is still open for that to change. Some people, that door is closed. It'll never open. Some people, that door is always open. Sure. For me, I need him to show me a little something here. That's on a team. That's on the defense as much as it is anything. Sure, I get all of that. But I sit here and I just keep coming back to Deshaun Watson. I keep coming back that this is the type of game that I need him to lead us to a win. I don't necessarily know how that's going to go. I don't know what it's going to look like. And again, I'm not dismissing that this is going to be a defensive game for the Browns too and all that. But this has to be Watson's game. This has got to be it. Everything that you have built up comes to a game like this. That alone is exciting. I'm not afraid. I'm excited. And I will be today, tomorrow, Saturday, and then probably Sunday I'll be a little bit of a nervous wreck getting ready for this game. Thank God it's not a late game. I'm all for the 1 o'clock kick. You're in Baltimore, hostile territory. Everything, man. And it's not that the whole season teeters on this game, because that's the other nice thing. You have games after this. Even if it goes bad, you're still going to be able to push for the playoffs. We'll get to this a little bit later. NFL.com, excuse me. They had their panel, and they cast their votes on who they think is going to make the playoffs. So they had like a 10-person, or more than that, actually. They had 27 people vote on who they think was going to win the division and who would make the wild card. I'll tell you where the Browns shake out that a little bit later. But this is it. I feel like I've been waiting for this game. You know what I mean? I feel like I've been waiting 2 months and maybe even a year and a half since Watson got here for a game like this. He's out there. He's healthy. He's ready to go. Do you think this is the biggest game of his Browns career? That's our first question up at Matt Fontana Show. Very clear, Ryan. I'm voting yes. I think everything is on the line right now for this game.
Yeah, I mean, his first real game since week 1 that he's been completely healthy. A divisional opponent who's in the lead. And this game, I know I've said this kind of ad nauseum, but it really is a big deal. If we win this game, then we're truly back in the hunt for the AFC North. But if we lose, we're going to feel it slowly slip away. And boy, I'm really, 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 really worried about our offensive line, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, let's get to that right now. We'll hear from Watson and Lamar Jackson in just a second. Came out a little yesterday that the Browns might be playing with the idea of flipping DeJuan Jones over to left tackle. It started with James Hudson. He spoke to reporters, and he said he thinks he was going to practice at right tackle yesterday, which would give you the idea that they're going to move DeJuan Jones over to left tackle. The instant thing is you're messing with now 2 positions, okay? You've had to piecemeal this, and I don't even piecemeal. Like, DeJuan Jones has stepped in and played above anybody's expectation and level. He has been honestly one of the unsung heroes of this season. Because if he came in there in their right tackle and Conklin went down as a revolving door, we wouldn't be where we're at today. So you give DeJuan Jones a lot of credit for that. Bill Callahan, certainly Andrew Berry for drafting him. So now, with Wills going down, the conversation might come to flipping DeJuan Jones over to left tackle. Your two best linemen are still your guards. Wyatt Teller is playing an amazing season. Joel Bitonio, another potential all-pro type of season. And Ethan Postic's been just fine there at center. I go back to Pee Wee in high school. Who's your best offensive lineman? Your left tackle, right? You usually put your best offensive lineman at left tackle. Now, my gut would say, okay, we'll slide Joel Bitonio out there. But then you come back to you're now impacting two positions versus one. I'm sure where this conversation started was that right now, DeJuan Jones is playing to a higher level than James Hudson. If you look at strictly, those are our two options of playing tackle right now. None of these practice squatters, and we're not discussing kicking out Joel Bitonio right now. So you have two guys to play two positions, DeJuan Jones and James Hudson. Well, yes, DeJuan Jones has actually played a lot this season. He's played extremely well. He is your better option. That would tell you to slide him to left tackle. Now, alarms will go off to say, well, wait a minute here. Why are we going to mess with a good thing? He's still a rookie. That is an extremely hard thing to do. Go ask Jed Wills. Because that was the biggest question that we had about him coming out of college. He was on the right side there at Alabama, blocking for Tua as a lefty. And his... So we're back up on Twitter. You can just bring that up, Ryan.
Yep.
So we had some Twitter issues this morning. We retweeted. But we're good on iHeart. We're still streaming on YouTube just fine. But the Twitter...
Twitter's fault.
It is Twitter's fault. Damn you, Twitter.
X.
So we're back up. We're back up on Twitter. So when you think about... that change is so hard. Jed Wills discussed that a lot coming out of college, and maybe that's part of the reason that he's... whatever. It's not quite that easy to flip it on over. Do you want to know my gut feeling on that, Ryan? This is the Browns messing with the Ravens a little bit. The Ravens have the best sacking team in the NFL. Nobody has more sacks than the Baltimore Ravens. And if you talk to Lamar Jackson, which we'll hear about him in just a little bit, he doesn't think there's many holes on that defense, and there's really not. And when you think about what the Ravens do, it's a lot of, they play a lot of man. So get ready for Sundays that the Browns play a lot of man, and so do the Baltimore Ravens. Again, should maybe help Deshaun Watson a little bit. But as far as their sack totals, I'm pulling those up right now. 7.5 for Matabike from a D tackle position. Kyle Van Noy, who they picked off the scrap heap, has 5. Clowney with 3.5. Queen with 3.5. Hamilton, the safety, has 3. Owe and some other guys like Roquan Smith, you kind of mix it in. The crazy thing is, Ryan, that they have over 10 players that have a registered sack this season. So it's, yes, you got to worry about Matabike, but it is other guys too. And it's a little bit what you would like the Browns defense to be. Hey, we focus on Myles Garrett. It'll be everybody else that gets after you. So that's like, I guess what I look at, and this is no disrespect to Kyle Van Noy or Adolfo Owe, they don't have a TJ Watt. Okay, they don't have a Myles Garrett where you're going, man, there's this premier elite pass rusher and they're going to go over James Hudson the whole time. You don't have that. But then the issue is that you have quantity. You have a lot of guys that are going to push the pocket and impact it. How does that factor into the decision on who you flip and who you don't? My gut would say just throw James Hudson in there at left tackle. I think maybe the Browns might be playing a little game here.
Yeah, I think the whole Bitonio thing, I think it's probably
not for game one. I'm with you.
Yeah.
You and I are on the same wavelength here. Not for this game.
And and I think it's a lot easier probably, and it obviously depends who your personnel is, but to move outside to inside than it is inside to outside.
Yes, it is much. You see guys that fail at tackle all the time, and then they throw them in a guard. Guard's easier. You got two guys next to you,
and
to kind of pick it up here.
Obviously reflected in draft capital. And all
sure,
that.
And then the tackle, make no mistake, they're going to help out whoever the left tackle is. They're going to put a tight end over there. They'll slide protection that way. They'll put the back over there. It's not that these guys will be out on an island. That's the other thing too. We talked a lot about DeJuan Jones. They've put him out on an island sometimes, and he's actually played well, and that's helped the offense. I'm sure that this has kept Kevin Stefanski up a few nights this week. Now, your positive is he didn't have to worry about Deshaun Watson. Could you imagine if we didn't know if Watson was going to play and he's sitting up there all night going, well, I don't know if Watson's going to play. Oh, wait, we got to deal with this offensive line problem now, too. Another reason, thank God, that Watson's good to go and he's going to play in this game, because now you can truly focus on what are we going to do on this offensive line. My gut says this. Throw Hudson there at left tackle. He's no throwaway. He's a good swing tackle. There's a reason that he's here for that. I don't want to mess with DeJuan Jones. Do that for this game. Your Joel Bitonio is break glass in case of emergency. Next week, when you face the Steelers, if it went really bad at that left tackle, well, Joel, you're going to slide back out there. We'll put somebody else, Leatherwood or somebody else, will slide them in the guard. It was supposed to be the Browns' best position. Browns' best position now is the defensive line. The offensive line, just injuries, right? That's the crappy thing about the game. But right now, I'm going to choose to believe that's a little game plan from the Browns. I don't actually believe that they're going to slide DeJuan Jones over there. Or, I mean, the pro is what I said. He is your best tackle right now. He's your best tackle, so you would put him at left tackle. But just that flip for him, and granted, I don't want to do this, guy. I want to focus on this game, but just for a second, indulge me if you can. In the grand scheme, big picture thing, DeJuan Jones, you feel like you found potentially a franchise tackle. Now, right or left. It sounds sexier. It sounds better to say he is your future franchise left tackle, because that's what you need and that's what you want. Here's the interesting part of all of this. Come next season, Jack Conklin, Jed Wills, and DeJuan Jones will all be on this football team. There's too much guaranteed money for Wills and Conklin for them just to walk away. So they'll be here. Now, I would give the edge to DeJuan Jones to start at one of those positions. And maybe you believe that a full offseason, he is your left tackle. That's a lot of money to sit on the bench, though, with Jed Wills, man. And that's a bigger problem for later. But does that factor into this now? Do the Browns have that idea that maybe DeJuan Jones will be our franchise left tackle for years to come? Let's start that clock now. Let's get him over there. Let's get some reps. Let's get some time in there. I would like to believe that they're not doing this just strictly for a rep or a look at it. You're facing the freaking Baltimore Ravens. I need a win. And I think they're doing the best that they can for Sunday. But you're going to need Watson to be mobile. He's going to have to get out of there. He's going to have to move. We'll see. We'll see. The Browns are in a tough position right now. So I think that might be a little game plan, to be honest with you, there from the Browns. So we'll have to see come Sunday. Well, Lamar Jackson didn't mince words yesterday, so he had his media availability. We'll hear from Deshaun Watson in just a second, but this kind of made the rounds this morning. Lamar Jackson talking about that pretty damn good Ravens defense.
Just by, I believe, I'm not trying to toot our horn, but I believe our defense has no weakness. Just from the defensive line, the linebackers, the secondary, how they flying around and disguising defenses to make it look like one coverage, but it's something else, and how they time up their blitzes. It helps us out a lot, because we playing other teams, they flying around giving us their best shot. It's like we send one of the best defenses every day.
I mean, he mentioned the position that it was really forgotten in today's NFL, linebacker, Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith's having a hell of a year. Patrick Queen's a tackle machine. And, dude, Jadeveon Clowney's even found a little resurgence over there. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, he has.
And I think it's always tough because it's a 3-4. Something about the 3-4. It never worked here. It never worked here. Romeo tried it. Did Pettin run it? I have so many, bad memories of them trying to put Jabal Sheard, who was like a true DN, who I thought was going to be a pretty decent player. Hey, man, sorry, you're going to go play outside linebacker now. I don't know why the 3-4 just never took here. I like the 4-3, and especially now where you're playing more nickel, I want 4D linemen and probably 2 linebackers and kind of spread it out there. But that's the other thing about the Ravens, this vaunted 3-4, and then you face it with the Steelers too. The two teams that probably run the 3-4 about as well as anybody in your division. And it seems like it always gives us problems. I don't know why. It just always seems to be so. And probably because you don't see it that often. It's a little fluky from that standpoint. But to Lamar's point, you don't see many weaknesses on this team. You don't. And that is the tough thing. What's part of matchup in football? Find their weakness and exploit it. Okay. Good luck. Is Michael Pierce still in the middle of that defense? I think he is at D tackle. They are like a wide defensive line. They're tough to move around. And you got offensive line problems. So to hear Lamar say that, I think that's him saying that is giving a little like reassurance to his team. That's a little semi-shot to the Browns offense too. Lamar knows what he's saying. Of course he does. And he believes it. And he has a reason to believe it, that this defense does not have many weaknesses, if any at all. And he's saying that to get a little juice for this game, man. Get a little juice for this game. I love it. I'll take it. I'm going to see what the Browns can get done. Now, to the flip side to that, let's hear from Deshaun Watson. First question. I thought this was an interesting one. Is there anything to facing Lamar, right? Of what we believe this to be, a potential quarterback, like really, if Pittsburgh can figure it out with Kenny Pickett, I don't know if they will or won't, but even if they find another quarterback, we are lining up for 5 to 7, dare I say 10 years of Lamar v. Burrow v. Deshaun Watson. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, Deshaun, any thoughts on kind of your taking on Lamar Jackson?
I don't play against Lamar. I play against the Ravens defense. So I can't focus on, what Lamar is doing on the opposite side, and trying to do that. I got to focus on, attacking this defense. Because if I get worried about, another quarterback, then I'm not going to play well against the defense. So
he's not wrong, but there's something to be said about today's NFL about facing the elite guys. Like there was juice. It's the word I keep saying this morning, But when Tua was facing Patrick Mahomes, there's something there. When you get Jalen Hurts versus whatever you think about Dak Prescott, I know they don't play against each other, but there's got to be something a little extra there. And correct me if I'm wrong, they've only played once, right? Because last season, Deshaun Watson only faced the Baltimore Ravens once. And, of course, he didn't play in the first game this year. So to kick that off to face it, and I get it. Another question to Deshaun Watson was asked about the gravity of this game. The whole thing I'm trying to I'm just bringing the excitement right now. It's about the gravity of this game. Let's see what Deshaun Watson had to say about it. Excuse me.
the game to go 1-0. That's the vision we have, is focus on Baltimore, and that's it. We're not worried about the outside noise or who's the best team in the league or things like that. It's the NFL. Everybody's good. So and anybody can get beat any given day. So our main focus is execution and mastering this game plan. And then once Sunday come, we got to go out there and play.
I mean, it's not so much that as long as Lamar Jackson or Deshaun Watson, as long as they outplay each other, that's not that simple. But the 1-0 mantra, sure, this game is bigger. And I know that they know that. Okay, that's media speak there from Deshaun. He doesn't want to rile anything up. But inside that locker room, I know that they feel this kind of game. This is the kind of game that you enjoy playing as a player. Whatever sport you played growing up, when you were a good team and you were facing a good opponent, you got up for that game and you got ready to go for it. So there is going to be always an element of Lamar versus Deshaun. They don't play each other exactly, but there's going to be that comparison. And make no mistake, I would assume the team that gets better quarterback play Sunday will probably have the edge. With these defenses that I think are, and we'll do the Friday report card tomorrow, I mean, you would probably give a slight edge to the Ravens. Probably. But you are facing... Am I putting too much on it, Ryan, to say 2 of the top 3 defenses in the NFL right now?
No.
2 of the top 5 at least.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Browns defense and what they've been doing, and obviously they've been way more consistent at home. I think they're allowing like 10 points at home, which is just nuts. But then you go look at the Ravens. Not only are they leading the league in sacks, but I'm pretty sure they have a franchise record streak and a most active streak in the NFL of, I think it's like 30 straight games with recording at least 1 sack.
And then the turnovers. Sorry, you're going turnovers too. They are insane with the turnovers, and then also points off the turnovers too. They are scoring, so they're going to take it away from you, and then they're going to go score points on it too. There's a lot of things on this defense that really gets you excited. At the very least, they're in the conversation together. So if you want to give the slight edge to the Ravens, fine, but that's where the equalizer would be the quarterbacks. Yeah, that would be the equalizer of who's going to play better in this game, Watson or Lamar. And it'd be, trust me, it's insane for me to sit here and not say you would expect Lamar to play better.
Yeah.
The guy is on an insane streak right now.
Yeah, Matt, let me ask you this. So obviously I think it's fair to say obviously the best defensive player in this game is going to be Myles Garrett. So it's good that we have him on his side, but then outside of that, you look at the Ravens, they don't have a player that you can say he's the top A1 at his position.
No.
Like you could say Miles is. But they have so many guys. You already named them off. Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey. They're just such a sound team all around. And so are the Browns. But I almost feel like they just almost have a more all-around consistent, whether you want to call them A players.
You could kind of... And I think the Browns are balanced, but what you're getting to is right. The Browns are a little more top-heavy, right? Where it's Denzel Ward and Myles Garrett, right? And then you look at where if you were to... I'm with you, right? Like if we sat here and ranked all the defensive players that are going to be in this game, no bones about it, Myles Garrett's number one. Number two, maybe it is Roquan Smith. Maybe it is Owe. Maybe it is Matabike. But then Denzel Ward is kind of in that conversation. But then the next, 5 spots are probably all going to be Ravens players. I'll get, Grant Delpit will kind of filter in there, and MJ Emerson will be in there, and Tomlinson and Zadarius Smith. But, the whole of the good players on defense are going to be on Baltimore. Now, there's 2 ways to skin a cat, right? Because they don't have, that game-wrecking kind of guy. That's a little bit different. This is a game that screams who? Myles Garrett. There's something about Myles. For all the stats that are out there, for the conversation that he's in for DPOY, and it seems like it's really, at this point, it's him, Watt, and Max Crosby. Micah Parsons, I guess, is probably still in that, but for some reason, I feel like it's those 3. I don't know why. There's a little disrespect to Micah Parsons. But anyway, one of the things that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, per se, for Myles, he shows up when we need him to. Like in the games that your offense is sputtering or you need a strip sack for a touchdown, he somehow gets it. And does he not always just seem to show up against the Ravens? And that's not saying that he doesn't necessarily do it against the Steelers or the Bengals, but he shows the hell up against the Ravens, does he not? And that's another exciting thing for Sunday is he's healthy. He's ready to go. I want to pull this up real quick.
And just to your point about him showing up to the Ravens, I feel like there's got to be that extra spice, going into the game when you're facing a quarterback like Lamar, who's maybe the most elusive quarterback in the league. And just to be able to sack him, it maybe adds an extra, motivation.
Oh, he knows how big it is to get after Lamar. He knows that, okay? In his career, sack totals for Myles Garrett. In his career, actually, this is kind of shocking. Guess what team he has the most sacks against? In his career. Of course, it would be an AFC North team.
Right.
It's the Bengals.
The Bengals, yeah.
He has 12 against the Bengals. He has 7 against the Ravens and the Steelers. He has 7 in 11 games each against the Steelers and the Ravens. He has 12 sacks in 10 games against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Wow.
In his career, 11. Oh, really? Well, I mean, I don't want to look at win-loss for Myles because he's actually only 4-7 in his career against Baltimore. That's not really his stat, though. He does have a defensive touchdown, 7 sacks, 27 combined tackles, 7 TFLs, and 13 quarterback hits, including 1 fumble, forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, and one of those was for the touchdown against the Ravens. So statistically, he balls out a little bit more against the Bengals. But those are numbers. Again, in 11 games, he has 13 quarterback hits against the Baltimore Ravens. Not all those were Lamar. Some of those were Tyler Huntley and was he the guy that made the Pro Bowl?
Yes. I don't know how, but yes.
Wasn't Snoop Brown? Wasn't he another one? Anthony Brown? Was that another quarterback for them or something like that? So it's not always been Lamar, but that's something about Myles that I really appreciate him very much stepping up for this game. All right, we got a lot more Browns to get to. We'll dive into it from CBS Sports, their midseason grade. NFL.com did their divisional picks. I do want to talk a little Cavs when we return as well about from last night. We'll get to the Big Ten and the Harbaugh thing. I did it yesterday, Ryan. I just do what they're going to do to him and move on. Because now it's even more leaking out that this actually isn't going to be anything against Michigan. It's all going to be against Harbaugh. But one question, and I'll leave this up to you if you want to post this on Twitter. Today's a big day in the video gaming world because Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 3. For you gamers out there, that's a whole other conversation for another day about that title. It's coming out technically tomorrow. Now, there's a glitch in the gaming world where for everybody else at midnight tonight, you can play the brand new Call of Duty game that comes out on your Xbox or whatever. But you can, to make it easy for everybody, you can go into your system and pretend like you live in New Zealand and play the game early. So there are people that have been playing the game since 3 a.m. this morning through a little glitch that they know about, but they like it because it's the hype. I love Call of Duty. It's my favorite game. It's pretty much all I play. Ryan, you're a gamer yourself. Have you ever called off work to play video games on the day of a release?
Actually,
to be fair, and I don't want to put... Well, I guess we'll see where Ryan's at tomorrow. I will be here tomorrow. I'm not taking work off tomorrow for it.
Yeah, I definitely have. I think it was Black Ops 3 I remember that I did that specifically. But in terms of taking off, well, for me, it was school.
School, yeah, same thing. School or work.
I remember Mafia 3, when it came out. It wasn't the day it came out, but I was like, I need to beat this game, and I'm going to expose myself. And this was my gross heyday. Well, I took off school.
That's a great question of when everyone else's gross heyday was.
and I wanted to beat the game so freaking badly.
How many hours did you play?
I played it
How many hours straight did you play?
Take a guess, man.
28.
Well, I mean, I had to sleep. But
okay.
No, but I legit did not move from my chair because I wanted to beat the game so bad. 11 hours.
That's okay.
That's moving from my chair. 11 hours. And then I remember I told you this one time, Matt. Double XP weekend, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
I was a glutton for punishment on Double XP weekend.
I woke up.
Oh, yeah.
I woke up level 1, like prestige, whatever. Before I went to bed, I was the next prestige.
And for those that don't know, in the gaming world, that's a lot of levels. It's a lot of levels to get there.
It's a gross, unhealthy amount of levels.
It is what it is. So, I don't know. I'll be interested to see if people put that up. Put that up at Matt Fontana Show. Have you ever called off work or school on a release day of a video game? I'd love to hear what people have to say on that. Get us in the Twitter inbox at Matt Fontana Show. Twitter is back working, thankfully, so the video's up and streaming. You can follow the show there. Ryan's at Ryan Tyler 33. I'm at Matt Fontana 83. All right, let's dive back into the Browns. I've got the division picks as well as the midseason grades. We got you locked and loaded right here on Big Play. Drennan last night. Thursdays are always kind of a little bit of our off night here on Big Play. But don't forget, tomorrow you've got Big Play, Big Bets. That's with Dave and Nick and Ted Ginn Jr. That replays over the weekend. And the best thing about Big Play, you could just go back to all the Twitter handles and rewatch the show. I know we have a lot of people that catch our show again in the afternoon. You could fast forward to whatever you want to do. So it's everywhere you need it to be. Big Play on Twitter is the easiest place to follow. We have our social media, our YouTube channel as well. So we're at Matt Fontana Show, but we also stream on the Big Play channel too. Ryan, we stream in like 6 places. Think about it. Our own YouTube page, our own Twitter page. We are up on iHeart. We are streaming on Facebook. We're back up on then the Big Play channel on YouTube. We're all over the place. Wherever you need. And the same thing for all of our shows. They're everywhere that you need them. And it was a pretty big week. Chico had the Hall of Famer, Joe Thomas, on yesterday. He had Zach Meisel on. Mary Kay Cabot was on with Josh and Maria Cribbs. Mike Polk was on the Reflog show this week. Everything that you need, all across our platforms. Big Play on Twitter is the easiest place to follow. Do it there. We got a lot coming up. We'll get to the Browns midseason grade from CBS and how many players or how many analysts at NFL.com pick the Browns to make the playoff and where. I'll tell you that next. Stay with us. Big Play. the Browns stand on the national side of things, we turn over to NFL.com, where they have a group of 27 of their analysts cast their votes for who will make who will win the division and who will make the playoffs. We're talking about that next right here on Big Play. Welcome back, Matt Fontana Show. I'm Matt Fontana. He is, of course, Ryan Tyler. Our question is already out. Have you ever taken the day off of work or school to play a video game on a release day? I have messages here, Ryan, that 11 hours is rookie. Those are rookie numbers.
That should be Hall
That's
of
a
Fame
lot.
numbers.
I mean,
that should be Hall of Fame numbers.
I can't tell you my longest, it had to have been college.
But do we realize how long 11 hours is? You know how much you can get done in 11 hours?
But for anybody out there that games, and I feel like there's a good chunk of the world that doesn't it always, you look down and you've been gaming for 2 hours, you feel like you sat down 5 minutes ago?
Yeah. I mean,
it just flies by. So I think it's easy to do. And especially if you have now it's super easy. Ryan, I lived in an era where there was no DoorDash, okay? You had to make food. So I couldn't sit there and go, I'm knee deep in a game right now, and I'm just gonna get fast food delivered to my door.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I'd like to get back there.
It's bad that we can do that.
Get back there one day. So it's up at Matt Fontana Show. Love to hear from some people in the Twitter inbox there. NFL.com. They had a large panelist group. Mark Ross, Mark Sessler. Hey, Nick Shook. Where can you hear Nick? Tuesdays on the Bold Breakdown.
You'll get it one day.
Beautiful. I just throw him in there. Good-looking guys. He joins Chico every Tuesday for the Bald Breakdown on Chico's show from 12 to 2. So Shook was in on this, Judy Batista, David Carr, all these people. So what they do is they cast their votes. Now, in total, there are 27 votes. And you would cast your votes on who's going to win the division and then wild card and so on out. We go to the AFC North. 27 votes. 24 of them went to the Baltimore Ravens. The other 3, the Cincinnati Bengals. Chad Reiter on why he chose the Ravens. The Ravens are in prime form right now. It's tough to see any AFC North foe overtaking them. Lamar Jackson's playing like the league MVP with help from Zay Flowers, and Baltimore's defense is clamping opponents to an NFL low 124 points or 13.8 per game through 9 contests. Now, we get to the wild card. We'll do all the rest of the divisions too. And these on a point total, right? Cincinnati got 62 points to be the 5th seed. Buffalo got 37 points to be the 6th seed. Miami, 17 points to slide in there what would be the 7th seed, or the 6th seed. No, 7th seed. And then the Cleveland Browns, 16 votes. They got 5th seed, 1 vote, 2 votes for the 6th seed, and 9 votes for the 7th seed. So really the way that this is laid out, where we have turned a lot of our attention to the Buffalo Bills, this actually has the Miami Dolphins. Now, granted, they have the Miami Dolphins winning the division, so it'll kind of lay out that way. Basically, they feel like the Browns are in the playoffs right now. They feel like they're going to make it. 27 votes, 21 of them went to Miami to win the East, 6 went to Buffalo. For the South, 26 votes went to the Jacksonville Jaguars. David Carr had 1 vote for the Houston Texans. He's a little bit of a sensationalist over there at NFL.com. And the AFC West unanimous that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win that. So again, Chiefs in the West, Baltimore in the North, Jacksonville in the South, and Miami in the East. That leaves who? Cincinnati, who again, 5th seed seems to be the prevailing vote there. Buffalo with the 6th seed gets the most. And then the Cleveland Browns, 9 votes for the 7th seed. Pittsburgh, and there's a couple votes for Houston sliding in on the 7th. The one that shocked me, nobody gave any love to the Chargers. Only 4 votes that they would make it as the 7th seed. So people are fading there a little bit on the Chargers. To the NFC, all 27 votes went to the Eagles to win the East. All 27 votes went to the Lions to win the North. 24 of the 27 votes went to the Saints to win the South, and 26 of the 27 went to San Francisco to win the West. Dallas, an overwhelming favorite to be the 5 seed. Seattle, the overwhelming pick to be the 6 seed. And then it gets dicey between Minnesota the Falcons and a couple of Rams and Saints, again, if they don't win the South in there. So 14 votes for the Vikings to win it there in the South. So as NFL.com lays it out, it's pretty much what we've been discussing. The teams are there. You know the teams. It's strictly going to be the ordering of who wins the division and how it kind of lays out from there. I flip over to CBS Sports, and they put out their overall midterm grades by Jeff Kerr. We did this on yesterday's show, and we just did individual positions. He did the overall team. Scroll down to the Cleveland Browns at a record of 5-3, and he writes a B+. The Browns deserve a lot of credit for being the toughest out in the AFC. Cleveland has the looks of a good team in training camp, evidenced by their defense being second in the NFL in points allowed per possession and first in yards allowed per possession. This defense has held 3 teams to 3 points or fewer this year. God, isn't that a stat? 3 games of 3 points or fewer. Jim Schwartz may be one of the best assistant coach hires of the offseason. The offense lost Nick Chubb, but they can still run the ball efficiently. Deshaun Watson hasn't been great, but the Browns' offense is significantly better when he plays versus when he doesn't. Cleveland has the look of a playoff team, but the Browns may need to survive the gruesome AFC North to do so. I think that's fair. If you want to give the Browns a B+, there's some question marks surrounding it, sure. I think overall they're in a really good spot. So I think B was a fair grade there from Jeff Kerr there on CBS Sports. Let's update our Twitter question and get back into that a little bit. Do you feel like this is the biggest game for Deshaun Watson in his tenure with the Cleveland Browns? 96-4. 96% of people say yes. And that's exactly how I feel for this game. You need him to play to a level that we haven't seen yet. And that's a hard thing because you're sitting there and you're trying to project. I'm going to ask Deshaun Watson to do some things and to play to a level that I haven't seen in a Browns uniform before. Now, we go back to Houston, and people always point to, well, he did it there, or he still has the makings of a franchise quarterback. Do you want to know what I want Sunday, Ryan? A win is number 1. Do you want to know what I want number 2? Proof that Deshaun Watson can still be a franchise quarterback. Because I don't have it. And I want it. He's paid like it. Gave up the picks for it. And there's a belief there that he is. I need some proof. I need tangible proof. Because my faith is about ran out. And that's the other reason why I'm super excited for this game. This is it. I've circled it. This is the game for Deshaun Watson to prove to me that he is what we hope he can be. I haven't seen it yet. Because of injuries, because of the suspension, sure. It all comes to Sunday. And Sunday afternoon or Monday morning when we start this show, I'm going to have a feeling on the future of Deshaun Watson here. Am I wrong for putting it all on one game? Yeah, maybe. But I don't care because that's what I'm going to do. Because that's what I can do as a fan. It's all on Sunday for me. He needs to show me what I've heard people talk about and what I think he can be. You're facing a division opponent, the cream of the crop right now in the AFC, and one hell of a good defense. Show me something here. I want to see it. And I'm super excited for the opportunity to see it. Now, it doesn't go well. He throws 3 interceptions. Wow, am I going to feel like crap. Boy, am I going to feel like crap. And that's the thing. Make no mistake. I will not start this show Monday with excuses. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to tell you that right now, 3 days out from the game. There is no excuses. Oh, well, if somebody got hurt, Amari Cooper got hurt, this and that. I'm telling you right now that this is an excuseless game for me. I need Deshaun Watson to play and show up and prove to me that he is the guy that we need. That's it. No matter what, nothing else impacts it. And we'll do that, hopefully, a joyous occasion on Monday. Feeling a little down about the Cavs, man. OKC is a really good basketball team, okay? Like, that's watching them play and Shai and all these other guys, the 2 Jalen Williams that they have. And if you want to talk about excuses, right? The Cavs could not hit free throws and could not stop turning the football over. basketball. They had 18 turnovers yesterday. That game was so frustrating to me because I wanted, same thing, we're talking about Watson proving something. I wanted the Cavs to prove to something a little to me. A little bit.
Yeah, Matt, I would like to offer a formal, sincere apology because for the first time this basketball season, I placed a bet. And
so it's your fault.
Yeah, it has to be.
Okay.
I placed my first NBA bet this year, and
I had 2 parlays going on in that game.
And I bet Donovan Mitchell to score at least 25 points.
Finished with 20.
And that is completely my fault. I put my own need above the Cavaliers, and it won't happen again.
I mean, the thing about watching that game, Evan Mobley played well. Like, there was times where you go, okay, Mobley, he got in there. Chet Holmgren is just a unicorn, man. Like, his impact on the game is just, it's felt more than the 15 points and 7 boards that he got. It just was so different. It really, Holmgren stepping out. You had Allen running out to contest, so then the lane was open. It wasn't, I mean, Shai going off for 43 is one thing, but it was other guys. Like Lou Dort stuck it to us last night.
Lou
Did
Dort, he put us in the torture chamber.
That Wallace
it was insane.
Kid. That Wallace kid, I mean, and they didn't hit a lot of threes, but the ones they hit just seemed to be daggers. And the Cavs, every time, I know AC was talking about this so much in the game, when they tried to claw their way back in the game, every time OKC hit a shot. Every time. And that's a mark of a good basketball team. When you got a team on the run like that, and Cavs went on a couple, 15-3 runs to get back into it. But every time, dude, every time they were on the precipice of just getting back in the game, Oklahoma City was like, no, we'll hit a shot here. We'll calm this back down. Am I putting too much on it early in the season for the Cavs? I'm kind of in a bad spot with the Cavs, man.
No, I mean, it was
deflating. It was deflating. You want to know what it was? It was deflating.
It was just an ugly showing. The amount of times you turn the ball over, you're never going to win an NBA game doing that. I mean, but shout out Karis LeVert. He was especially that fourth quarter. He was consistently attacking the rim, and he was just getting foul calls left and right, and he was making his free throws.
He got to the line 16 times, set a career high with 13 made free throws.
Yeah, and credit to the Cavs, we hung in there. But I mean, like you said, they were just drilling shots.
Well, and they missed Isaac Okoro last night. I know that. Here's the bad thing about Karis LeVert. He was minus 14 when he was on the floor. Yeah, he put up 29. They were scoring, not at will when he was out there, but minus 14 is not going to be good enough. And I look at some of the other players on the Cavs and, did they show up or were they here? Were they there? I shouldn't put too much on it. That was the 8th game of the season. But I want a little bit of better show. I guess the solace could be that you about handed that game away. There were some bad turnovers. I mentioned that they couldn't hit free throws. They still shot 73%, but I just feel like there were some like Dean Wade. Okay, I'm in a bad spot with Dean Wade, man. Real bad spot with Dean Wade. That, I think there was just a moment in the game where he bricked a corner 3 and then instantly came down and then fouled, I think, Shai or something like that. And I know Dean Wade was injured last year, and there are a lot of people that feel like he's actually a semi-big key off the bench for this team. I'm in a bad spot with Dean Wade. Niang, is he going to show the hell up or not? It's early. It's early. You want to know what? Cavs are semi-healthy. I would like Okoro in that game. Semi-healthy, but I'm really down about that game. It's not even the typical bets, because you want to know what? I don't know if I was going to mention them this morning. You know the email that I got this morning from Tipico? I got some bonus boots, man. I got 4 protected bets. They dropped 4 $10 protected bets into my account. So when I go to Tipico, use the code BIGPLAY150 when you sign up. You get the bonus bets. But I can log in. I have now $40 I can play with on Tipico. Kind of makes me feel a little bit better about those. And we'll get a Thursday night parlay rolling for tonight, I'm sure. But I'm down on the Cavs just a little bit after last night. Tough showing. All right, let's get to the morning update when we return. We'll get all the stories across. I throw this on you late, Ryan. Can you bring up the Ron Washington hire, please? He's in LA now. Bring that up. We'll talk a little bit of baseball. We got football. We got everything else. I don't really want to talk Michigan, but we'll get to that in hour 2, and we'll update all our Twitter questions when it comes to Deshaun Watson. That all comes your way next. I quickly mentioned Tipico. Use that code BIGPLAY150 when you sign up. And that's the thing. Tipico's going to take care of it. They got the boost. They got everything. But again, I got some protected bets. And that's not unlike a lot of other sports books out there where they'll throw you some bonus credits here and there from time to time. But I needed it. I needed a perfect time. So I got four $10 protected bets that I can use within the week. Boosts for tonight. DJ Moore, anytime touchdown score, Bears money line, plus 343. Panthers win. Adam Thielen, 50 yards receiving. Chuba Hubbard, 50 yards rushing, plus 590. This one's interesting. Bryce Young, 2 touchdown passes, and the Panthers win, plus 330. Those are all some of the boosts that are rolling tonight for Thursday Night Football. You can check it out there. I kind of like this one, too. Bryce Young and Tyson Bagent to both throw for 200 passing yards, plus 230. 3 players of this group to score a touchdown. Chuba Hubbard, Adam Thielen, Deontay Foreman, DJ Moore, and Cole Kmet, plus 350 if any 3 of those guys score a touchdown. Those are all your boosts for tonight. College basketball, college football tonight. It's all right there. Jackets, Blue Jackets, score first, win the first period, and win the game against the Stars tonight, plus 550. Should I do it? I kind of want to do it. The hell? I got a bonus bet. It's in there. Tipico. Download the app. Play along with us all season long. Tipico. Use that code BIGPLAY150. Morning update comes your way next. Stay with us. All right, a lot to get to. I threw the Ron Washington thing on you because I just got to bring this up. I think it's crazy to see what the LA Angels did. But nonetheless, morning update, Thursday edition. Thursday night football, a little bit of baseball, a little bit of basketball. We got it all. Take it away, Ryan.
Alrighty, well, I know we've talked about this a lot, and it's the center of college football right now, but I wanted to bring this up to you, Matt. So according to a source, Michigan's 10-page response to the conference was focused on urging Petitti to respect due process and argued that a sanction at this stage would be breaking the league's bylaws. Kind of seems like the pot calling the kettle black there, Matt.
The law is always what? Twisted to benefit you, right? So what are they saying? Hey, if you sanction us here, we don't have the proper time to defend ourselves. And then what are they going to do? They're going to slap an injunction on it, and then they're going to say you got to drag this out till the offseason. This is where it's crazy to think about things like the Supreme Court getting involved in sports. Because when I was growing up, I really never understood as a kid why Mark McGuire was sitting in a perjury case in the Supreme Court. I go, that's government, right? Like, this is sports. But, like, that's what the court is for. Technically, Michigan could sue. I guess you could sue anybody, right? Like, these are legal fights. These are legal battles. So I just, as a kid, I didn't really understand that. Now as an adult, you're like, oh, yeah, what do they do? They're going to take them to court. They're going to take him to court, and they're going to say, what you did to me was wrong, like anything, right? Your neighbor's tree falls on your yard, crushes your car. What do? You take him to court. Somebody hits your car. You take him to court. This is no different. Michigan feels like they've been wronged by the Big Ten, and they're going to take them to court. So it's crazy to think about how that is all going to work out, even though it's sports. But, of course, they're going to try to drag this out. Of course, they're going to try to say we need to defend ourselves. And even if there's a time, and I know we've discussed this a lot, where I'm ready to see what happens. And it sounds like more than anything, this is going to be, they're going to punish Harbaugh. They're not going to punish the team. They're not going to postseason ban them. They're not going to vacate wins. That's fine. Like, I'll say this. I have no faith in the Big Ten nor the NCAA to do anything. I just don't. What are they going to do? And this will just get slapped with injunctions and restraining orders, and we'll deal with this in 3 years when it finally gets all out. Eventually, what you believe is going to happen, and the very little limited knowledge of the court system, which unfortunately this year I had to get a lot more information on, but those are stories that'll probably never make it to air. Ryan? I had to learn a lot more about the court system this past year. It's been a year, man. It's been an interesting year. But nonetheless, eventually what I think is going to happen, that they will fight this for a couple of months, and then eventually both sides will sit down and come to a plea agreement. Michigan, you know what you did. We're sick of fighting you on this. Take this. It's maybe reduced of what we thought it was going to be. Take it and move on. Now, the Big Ten and the NCAA might want to come out and say, no, we're going to make an example out of these guys. If you do that, they're going to be fighting this forever. You are going to be fighting this in court forever. Michigan's got lawyers. They have a lot of them, and I'm sure they're well paid for what they do. The other part of this is Jim Harbaugh, right? Because do you want to have this conversation after the morning update? I feel like I'm hijacking the morning update.
It's all good.
Let's do that. Let's finish out the morning update. I've got another thing I kind of want to get to about the whole Michigan thing coming out with potentially them just going after Harbaugh. So we'll get to that because there's also some more stories that came out this morning about the deadline and all that kind of stuff. But we'll get to that coming up. Stay with us.
Alrighty, well, in a Sports Illustrated article, they listed credit company WalletHub's top 10 best sports cities in the U.S., and Ohio City did make the appearance on the list at number 10. However, it's not Cleveland. It's actually Cincinnati.
So what were the metrics on money spent, probably, right? Or value?
I believe it's a mixture of that as well as revenue. So I think in baseball and football, it says they ranked 8th in each metric. And apparently Cincinnati is the 16th best soccer city in the U.S.
Okay. So they did it on, how much do you spend when you go to the game? Probably value and all that kind of stuff. I mean, Cleveland is a healthy sports town. And I know that, we lost the football team, and there was a lot of political stuff that went into that, and Art Modell and all that kind of stuff. But with where we're at, There's a wait list again for the Browns season tickets. Cavs season tickets are healthy. The Guardians, it kind of is what it is. But then don't forget about, Cleveland State. Don't forget about the monsters that you pay money to go see. The Avon Crushers out there. I can't wait for the day. And I'm probably a few years away. My son is 2. He'll be 3 in June next year. So probably not next year. But when he's 5 or 6 or 7, I really picture us at a lot of Avon Crushers games. $15, you're sitting probably 6 rows from the stand or from the field, probably get a baseball. He's got to leave in the 3rd inning because he wants to go home. Let's go home. I'm thoroughly excited for that. But I think it's healthy. I think Cleveland, when it comes to money being spent for the games, for parking is never crazy. I mean, for some of those NBA finals, it was. But that is the importance. Again, it was funny how it kind of comes full circle here. We were talking about sports and then, the government getting involved. Well, that is the importance on why, Mayor Bibb to get this stadium done. You want the fresh new stadium. Why? Because you have businesses that are around the stadium. I'm a lifelong Clevelander, man. I know what the stadium looks like, or even the ballpark or the arena, right? Whatever you want to call it, that bar, like Wilbert's, right? Or the Thirsty Parrot, right across from Progressive Field. You want to know what those business owners love? The Guardians to go make a long playoff run or to be really good. Because I love those bars, don't get me wrong. I spent a lot of time at both of those places, trust me. But there's not much going on there in the winter, right? People can make the hike over to the arena. It's not too bad. But even just all that, then yeah, parking and hotels and all the commerce and all the money that is getting spent, that's important stuff. That's where political and government influence and what we need to get done. But on the whole, I think we're in a good spot. And yes, it is relative of how good the teams are, but the fans go and they spend money, and it's an influx into our town. I'm a Cleveland resident. Part of my taxes go towards that, and yeah, I spend money. Best example would be we took our son to his first baseball game. 7 of us went. So me, him, his uncles, my brothers, a couple of their girlfriends, and what did I do? I paid $40 to park close because I figured, again, he's 2, he might need to leave. Let's park close. Tickets were, 200 odd some bucks, whatever total. $15 for a beer here and there. Had to get him some merch while we were there. I mean, that's money that's happily spent from me. And I'm happy that I was able to do that because those are memories that you create with your family. And that was one of my favorite days of the summer, to be honest with you. And that was money well spent. So I think it's a good value. I think Cleveland's in a good spot when it comes to the value and the money that we spend here in town.
Alrighty, well, speaking of the Guardians, General Manager Mike Chernoff was asked whether their organization would ever consider moving Ramirez at some point in the near future. To that, he responded, "Jose is the guy that we're building around. He means so much more to our franchise just in terms of what he is in the clubhouse." He goes on to say, "I expect Jose to be a lifetime Cleveland Guardian, and I would leave it at that. He is the guy we want to build around."
So there was, I can't remember who it was, they got really on that reporter for asking that question and being like that. Jose Ramirez is here forever. And he's the kind of guy that if you trade him away or you let him go, and there will be a day like Cincinnati, what did they do? They just declined Joey Votto's option. That's going to be, they sent out a nice message. There will be a time that Jose Ramirez moves on, but it's going to probably be on his own time, right? Like when he decides that he wants to retire. And it could go bad. You could have the Miggy Cabrera situation where he's not worth $38 million or whatever crazy amount it was for him to get up there, but still, Jose is one of those guys, and I've said this about a couple of guys on the Browns, and we can go around the teams, right? On the Guardians, it's really only Jose. He gets a lifelong contract. Don't ever let him go anywhere else. For the Browns, Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb. Joel Bitonio, I think, is already in that. I think he's already in that conversation. He's good to go. For me, it's Myles and Chubb. Maybe Denzel Ward to a point, but I don't ever want to see Nick Chubb or Myles Garrett ever play football for anybody else ever, 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 ever. To the Cavs, I'd like to say Mobley and Garland and stuff, but it's like, you know how the NBA works. I don't know if there is one on the Cavs. Jose Ramirez is that for the Guardians. I'm glad they have that stance, and yes, I don't ever want to see him play baseball anywhere else ever again.
Alrighty, well, Sports Illustrated listed their top 5 Guardians hitters last year, Matt. I want to hear your top 5 and see if we have any symmetry.
Okay, Jose.
Can you do it in order?
Oh, okay, Jose 1.
Pull out the pen and paper.
Yeah, I got it. I'm just going to do 5 and then let me order them.
Okay.
Jose, Naylor, Josh Naylor, Quan. I mean, Andres Jimenez was so streaky, but I just don't have anybody else to put in there. Can I ask you a question? Did they not put Josh Bell in? Well, Josh Bell was crappy. He's not in that, right?
He's not in.
Okay. Jose Naylor, Quan Jimenez. Who am I forgetting? It's not Bo Naylor. There's no way. Oh my God. There's no way that Cole Calhoun made it, did he?
No.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
They did put Bo in there.
He did Bo. Okay, so let me ask you this. Are those the 5?
They are.
Okay. So then I would go Jose. I actually might go in that order. Jose, Josh Naylor, Quan Jimenez, Bo Naylor.
Okay, so yeah, pretty close. They put Josh Naylor as number 1.
Ah, okay.
Jose 2, Stephen
fine.
Quan 3, Bo 4, and Jimenez 5.
All right, that's a pretty good job out of it. That's pretty fair on that.
Yeah.
They still need something. They still need something to add on. They do. They just need a couple more pieces there. Pitching is another side of things, but I think that's pretty fair.
Alrighty, well, to wrap up the morning update, the Angels are the latest team to find their next skipper. They hire longtime coach Ron Washington.
He is 71 years old. 71 years old. The Angels are the worst franchise in all of sports, and you cannot tell me otherwise. They have 2 generational talents that they have squandered into nothing, and they hire Ron Washington? Yeah, okay, he took the Rangers to 2 World Series. Let's not forget, he didn't have the squeaky clean record there when he was in Texas. He got popped for drug use, and he allegedly left that job after sexual misconduct. Okay? Take all that out for a sec. He is 71! Do you not want to hire a guy that you could be like, yeah, at least we think he can keep this job for a little while? And that's not me being ageist, okay? That's not me wishing harm on Ron Washington. He's 71!
Sounds like he should be running for president instead.
Oh, God. Ryan, stop that.
I had to.
Stop that.
I had to.
It's a sad state of our society. I don't care what side you vote on. 65 limits at the highest, man. 35 to 65. You get a 30-year gap. You get a 30-year run to try to be president. Man, woman, or however you identify, does not matter. You get a 30-year gap. Cut that off at 65. For the love of God, for me, for you, for our children, cut that off at 65. Good Lord. That blew me up. Say what you want about Stephen Vogt. There is at least a chance of a long... That's so bad, man. I'm sorry to Ron White. It sounds like I'm wishing like that he's going to die in 3 years. He's 71. The Angels are horrible. No matter what you want to say about the Guardians, at least you're not the Angels. See, I think about the Twins, too. People think there's reports out the Twins are going to start selling off. So they're out. It's going to be us. Us on the White side. I think KC might have some little bit brewing there. That Bobby Wood Jr. is pretty good. I think KC's going to... You want a hot take for baseball season next year? KC will be the second best team in the AL Central. Book it. Book of that. I don't understand with Ron Washington. Not at all. So at least you got that going for you, which is nice. All right, let's get back into this Harbaugh thing, because now, and I saw this, like, I think Adam Rittenberg just sent it out. Bro, it's the 10-page response from Michigan. I don't even want to read it. Dan Wetzel had it. It starts out with, Dear Chad. This is to Chad Hawley, the Vice President of Policy and Compliance at the Big Ten. 5440 Park Place Avenue, Rosemont, Illinois. Dear Chad, this letter responds to your November 4th email regarding the Big Ten Conference's investigation of the University of Michigan football program under the conference's sportsmanship policy. At the outset, let me assure you the entire Michigan community, including university president, board of Regents, whatever the hell that is. Vice President and General Counsel, football coaching staff, and I are treating these allegations about our football program with the utmost seriousness. We are fully cooperating with the NCAA investigation, which enforcement staff is. I'm not reading this whole 10-page thing. This is absolutely crazy, and it's a lot. Okay, so at least they filed that today, and then they kind of move forward. Where I kind of wanted to change the conversation a little bit is Harbaugh, because what I'm understanding and some of the things that I'm reading is that they're going to go after him. This came out yesterday from Adam Rittenberg and Dan Murphy. The league recently sent Michigan a notice of disciplinary action, an event. Okay. Michigan was expected to send its response today, which they did. The likeliest penalties, including a suspension, would focus on Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh rather than the entire team. They know Stallions is already out. The question is, what will Petitti do? And this is from Rittenberg and Murphy. The first-year commissioner has drawn positive reviews around the league so far, but a rocky tenure of Kevin Warren, who had that job before. Last week, Petitti heard from Big Ten coaches and athletic directors, many of whom strongly encouraged him to act against Michigan, even though the NCAA investigation and infractions process is far from over. He also met with Michigan president Santa Ono, who has urged Petitti, as they have done, to let due process play out. Michigan sources have made it clear that if Petitti imposes a discipline, the school will use every available legal recourse to fight back. A Michigan source telling ESPN, "This is going to get ugly. We don't think this is fair that 13 schools gang up on one and the commissioner will just give in. Does Petitti have authority? No question, but we have levers of power ourselves." Yes, all of that is true. And that's why I'm really kind of shifting this to the back burner on this whole Michigan thing, because I don't expect anything quick to come, and it's going to take forever. Here's a thought process that I had. If they're going to truly zero in on on Harbaugh, couldn't Michigan just dump his ass? Think about it. And he's up for a deal, right? Because when they talking about that, they had a deal in place for him to become the highest paid coach in college football history. What's his contract? Okay, hang on one second. Okay. Harbaugh's been the head coach of the Wolverines since 2015. He agreed to a 5-year, $36 million deal in 2022. But the school had already opened talks about an updated extension before the current scandal. So at the very worst, they have him until 2027. Now, that being said, $36 million, that's not Jimbo Fisher level. Ryan, you ever see the buyouts in the Jimbo Fisher deal?
No, I didn't.
Oh, my God. Go Google that. Buyout or contract. It's like there are years that if they fired him, they'd owe him like $80 million. He signed a fully guaranteed $94 million contract when he went to Texas A&M. 10 years, basically $95 million, and every penny of it is guaranteed. That keeps him at A&M until 2023. If he's fired this year, they owe him $76 million. He's fired next year, they owe him $67 million. He's fired in 2025, they owe him $58 million. So Michigan has a deal, $36 million. By the way, Texas A&M, to get to $36 million of what they owe Jimbo Fisher, they'd have to get there in 2028. 5 more years just to get to that for Jimbo Fisher. Great job, Aggies. They could get out of this Harbaugh thing. Here's your money, which another part of that. Talk about all these legal fees. Talk about all this other stuff they got to pay. They might surpass $36 million in fighting this whole thing. Why don't you just give Harbaugh's money and say, go away? Now, the problem is the optics of it. Jim Harbaugh is Michigan man to the nth degree, right? Former player, one of the best players ever. Well, I don't say one of the best players coming out of Michigan, but well-respected, played in the NFL, all that kind of stuff. And now he turned your program around. My comeback, if I were a Michigan fan, which I never will be. Yeah, he turned the program around, but now I don't know if he actually did it all himself. Because think about the years that they were actually good. The years apparently they were sign stealing. Did recruiting get better? Sure. J.J. McCarthy is one of the better quarterbacks they had. Blake Corum's one of the better players that Michigan has had in the last couple of years, or at least in Harbaugh's tenure. And it takes time to turn it around. But the simple answer is just dump his ass. Say, you're on your own, man. You did this. Make no mistake. No matter how this is going to dice out, Harbaugh knew. You cannot convince me otherwise. So the school who claims that they're getting ganged up on now and everybody's going against them, they already stole the Ohio against the world thing. They already got T-shirts about Michigan versus everybody else or whatever. I don't almost swear often, Ryan. I know we can now. I almost swore right there. Stop myself. Technically, we can on this platform.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want. You can
Not quite, Ryan, but damn close.
Drink your garage beer.
This is the one I really want to try. They have a lime one.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Well, these ones have been sitting here. I want a nice cold one from our friends at Garage Beer. I do love beer. Does Garage Beer have an IPA? They have to. I've derailed everything here. Small batch, light lager, no bitterness. I love Garage Beer. Anyway, I'll find that out later. Just dump him. Just let him go. And you could sit there and say that the future of the program is still better in Jim Harbaugh's hands or that he's still the right way to move forward. But that's your easiest answer. Sometimes in these processes, what happens? You disassociate yourself from the issue. How does Michigan disassociate themselves from the issue? You're at Jim Harbaugh. He knew. There's no way he didn't know. And it sounds like the NCAA is going to focus in on Jim Harbaugh. Now, here's the other side of it. You could say, well, we'll just ride it out with Harbaugh. Even if they said it's a year suspension for Harbaugh, Michigan could say, well, okay, as long as we don't have postseason ban, we don't have any reduction in salary, or I'm sorry, in scholarships, then we'll just see Jim Harbaugh next year. And we'll kind of ride it out. Is it worth it for him? Those are questions that Michigan's got to ask. Right now, they have to have the unified front. They have got to start with you're going against one of us, then you're going against all of us, right? Michigan is going to have this unified front, and we stand with Jim Harbaugh. Watch to see if that starts to change a little bit. Because even they have to know what he was doing was wrong. And it's, in my opinion, become clear that there will not be any of this he didn't know about it. Because I've not heard any of that being a defense. You want to know what Michigan's best defense is? Is that everybody else was doing it. And Rutgers and Purdue and Ohio State, they were involved in this too. Doing what they were doing. I don't think any of that really holds water. Disassociate yourself. Pay him his money. Tell him to go away. And if the Big Ten, Ryan, put yourself in the shoes of the Big Ten or the slimy NCAA. If Jim Harbaugh just resigned from Michigan, would you still penalize him? Or would you say that's penalty enough? No, we're not. Be right back. We'll be back in a second. But
that question had me so shook. I was trying to think of something. I mean, I would still like him to be penalized because it's kind of like, okay,
were you trying to pull up the Harbaugh picture?
Yeah. But then I forgot I deleted it out of the system.
Okay.
But
would that be enough of a punishment? Knowing that, again, in sports, sometimes punishments come with a payday. For as much of an a-hole as Dan Snyder was, he got $4 billion.
Yeah.
As big of a piece of human crap Donald Sterling was, he got a lot of money from Steve Ballmer for the Clippers. So that's the crappy thing. They got their teams taken away from them. They still got a paycheck.
Yeah.
So if Harbaugh, if it came to he resigns, he still gets his chunk of cash. Oh, wait a minute. What if Michigan fired him with cause? Oh, what a plot twist that could be now. We've seen this even in the Big Ten this year, Mel Tucker and Pat Fitzgerald, what are they bitching about? They say, I wasn't fired for cause. Well, actually you were.
So that would
they don't get it. What? I'm sure in all these lengthy documents that I don't want to read, Somewhere in his contract. In every one of these contracts, there's a moral clause. And if you do these unsavory things, you're not going to get your money. Could Michigan turn on Jim Harbaugh? Could they do it? Could that be something where they say, you know what? We're going to throw him to the wolves. We're going to self-sacrifice here. We're going to throw him off. We're throwing everybody. The ship's going down, and we're chucking him off to save ourselves here. Because I'll tell you this. If that actually happened, what would the Big Ten and the NCAA have against Michigan? You remedied the situation. You fired the guy that it's the fault. You fired Connor Stallions. You fired Jim Harbaugh. And again, if they want to go back and vacate wins, which I think is stupid, sure, fine, whatever. There's Michigan's way out. The question is, how loyal are they to Jim Harbaugh? How much are they actually going to say, we'll ride and die with this guy? He's it. Because I could also make another case that him at least rebuilding the program, you fire him and bring in another coach, you can at least continue that. Because with Harbaugh, optics in college football are huge. When he and Ryan Day and Nick Saban, and I bring up Dabo Swinney down there in Clemson, right? When they are sitting in the rooms, in the living rooms of 4- and 5-star recruits, talking to their parents, talking to their coaches, and I'm talking about the cream of the crop recruits, where here's their offer for Alabama, here's their offer from Notre Dame, here's their USC offer, and they're sitting there and they're talking to Lincoln Riley, and they're talking to all these coaches, and they have a legit decision to make. Who is not going to sit there and look at Jim Harbaugh and not think about the sign-stealing thing? There will always be anomalies to that. There will always be Michigan-born and bred recruits. There will always be Ohio State-born and bred recruits, where if they're in the state of Ohio or they grew up a Buckeye fan, they'll always have that lean. They will always have more of a thing. I hope my son's maybe there one day if he plays football. I've said this before on the show. I'll say it again. My son and my daughter, they are 2 and 4 months old. I got a lot of time, right? And they could become world-class golfers. They could be on the swim team. They could be in the choir. They could be the best cellist to ever walk the face of the earth. And they want to go to a conservatory at a school that's great. They can go anywhere they want except Michigan. They go to Michigan State. They go to Central Michigan. They go to Penn State. They go to Wisconsin.
What if it's your son's only full ride?
I'll pay.
No, you would not.
Yeah, I would. I swear to God.
No, you would not.
I swear to God.
No, you would not.
I say that with the straightest face.
No, you would not.
Nope.
No, I don't
not
believe
going
that
to
for a
Michigan.
second.
Nope.
No way.
Nope.
You're telling me your kid had an only full ride, like $40,000 cup. Matt, come on.
Mm-mm.
Yes,
I'll pay.
you would.
I'll pay.
No way.
I swear to God.
No way.
Do you see how serious I am? I swear to God.
You think your wife would let you do that?
Yeah, she would because she went to Ohio State.
No way.
I swear to God.
No,
And
Matt,
people-
no.
Okay, and here's the thing. I've said that before, and people get on my ass because they go, "Oh, Michigan's a great school." I know it is. I'm not. They're not going there. They can go because not for a second of my life will I ever put on a piece of Michigan hat, a polo, a quarter zip. And the thing is, I would be selling my children short if I didn't support them in every single way that I could. And I cannot support the state of Michigan. I can't support Michigan University. I can't do it.
No way.
If they're good enough to go to Michigan, they're good enough to go to Bowling Green, okay? They can go to Bowling Green. My father-in-law went to Bowling Green. Proud graduate. My in-laws went to OU. Go Bobcats. If he's good enough or she is good enough to go golf or be in the choir up there at Michigan, I'll find him somewhere else to go.
You're lying to yourself.
I swear to God.
No way, Matt.
On my grave.
No way.
I swear to God.
A
on my
full
grave.
ride to be one of the best football schools in the country.
Will pay for him to go somewhere else.
You're nuts.
If he had a full... Now, the tough thing is it will be my son's decision. I would never take that decision out of my son's hands.
Right.
That is the hard part of this.
You're tripping.
But I would tell him, son, you go be a walk-on at Ohio State, and I will pay for you to go to Ohio State.
You're mad.
I swear to God.
No, Matt. I can't believe that for a second.
Believe it.
No way.
I'm not kidding.
Full ride.
I'm not kidding. That again, the caveat is in that scenario, my son or my daughter would probably have done a lot of work that I didn't do, that I'll support them in every single way that they've done. Whatever, again, academia, it could be athletics, it could be a thespian, whatever they become world-class in. And if they're staring down the barrel of an offer from Michigan and that's really, truly where they want to go, I don't know if I'd let them. I really don't. I don't know. I swear to God.
I know issue 2 just passed, but you are fried.
I swear to God.
No way, Matt.
That's the only one. That's it. They can go, seriously, they can go anywhere else. That's it.
No.
There's something about it. And is it a base off of athletics? Sure. And again, you're talking about the future of my children, right? Getting a good college education. And I'm letting a football team impact that. I know how crazy it sounds. And I want nothing but the best, like any parent out there. What do you want? You want the best for your kids. Just not Michigan. That's
I'm
it.
clipping that.
Clip it. I'm telling you, man.
You're
telling you.
nuts.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
40, like a $40,000 scholarship to go to Michigan.
I would pay $40,000 for my kid not to go to Michigan. Seriously.
Wow.
Seriously.
Wow.
Yeah. And trust me, you'll find out soon, Ryan, 40 grand don't get you very far in college anymore. It's
Yeah,
40
well-
grand a year.
Well, yeah. My grace period just ended, so
have fun with that.
I'm gonna have a fun, hopefully.
I'd love to send him to the University of Cincinnati. My wife's cousin,
Hell
proud
yeah.
Bearcat. He's a junior down there in Cincinnati.
I can vouch for that.
I
can vouch for
proudly
that.
send them. And the thing is, it's not just Michigan. You're like, oh, they hate all Michigan. They can go to Michigan State, Central, Western, any of them.
You're nuts.
Just not there, man. Just not Ann Arbor. Because I would feel like a horrible father of not supporting them because I cannot support that place. I can't. Dude, they're worse than the Steelers, than the Ravens, than the Warriors, than anything else. There is something true to my core that I hate Michigan. I hate them.
That's insane.
I do. And again, parents out there, what do? Your son or daughter, you grow up, what are they? They're Browns fans because of you, right? They are Cavs fans because one of my good friends, he is a diehard Ohio State fan. He loves the Cavs as much as anybody that I know. He's a Steelers fan because his dad and his family are from Pennsylvania. They live in Cleveland, but he is a born and bred Steelers fan. So I love giving Nick crap. I love him. I love him to death. I love giving him crap, but I respect it because he is a Pittsburgh fan because that's how he was born and raised. I will be raising, my wife and I will be raising our children to be Browns fans, Cavs fans, Guardians fans, and Ohio State fans. We'll also raise them to hate Michigan.
Patrick said, "You're bananas. I hope both your kids go to Michigan."
They're not going to Michigan. They're just not.
You're lying to yourself. There's
I'm
no
not.
way. There's no way.
I swear to God.
Full ride.
Full ride. I'll pay for them to go somewhere else.
No,
I will go into debt to send them somewhere else.
Oh my God.
I'll be doing this show till the day I die if I have to get that pay. Doing this show at Ron Washington, age of 71. Sitting here still pulling paychecks if I have to keep my kids from going to Michigan.
All because they
I'll do
can't
it.
wear yellow and blue.
I hate it. I hate everything about it. I hate that school. The helmets, the freaking God, that chant, those pom-poms. Ugh. They're just not, I'm sorry, they're not going. They can go anywhere else. I swear to God, they can go anywhere else.
No way.
There are thousands of universities, D2, D1, D3, all of it, and go anywhere else. And I always just maintain that if they're good enough to be accepted into Michigan, there's probably another school. That
Right, but hypothetically.
hypothetically. I swear to God.
Wow. I respect your.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that, because I started this by saying
Yeah.
that if I were a Michigan fan, which I'm not, if you haven't picked that up in the last 5 minutes, there you go. So if I were a Michigan fan, your loyalty is to the program. And you could say that when Jim Harbaugh walks into a living room, I'd lock the door.
I was gonna say, wait.
He'd come knocking. I'd be like,
wait,
get out of here. Get out.
No, you're telling me
I'd throw him off my property. I'd call the cops.
Comes to
I
Northeast
got a
Ohio.
trespasser. He's on my property. Get out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, throw him out of here.
No
I don't want him.
way.
You wasted your plane trip, Jim.
No
Go somewhere
way.
else. He could be standing on my tree lawn in West Park, Ohio. Like, get out of here.
No.
I'd flip him off. Tell him to get the hell out of here.
No way. Your son's the #1 linebacker in the country. John Harbaugh comes up.
Don't even bother.
No
Don't
way.
John Harbaugh's fine.
Jim. No way.
Don't even worry about it, Jim. Go to the next house.
That's unreal.
I shouldn't say this, but it's like the Jehovah's Witnesses. Just go to the next house.
You're nuts.
I should go to the next house. On my door, there's 2 signs: no solicitors and no University of Michigan. Moving on, Jim. Go find somebody else. Not in this house.
Now I'm even more excited.
Not in this house.
For the big game up north. I didn't realize you were,
I hate him.
This had this much of a vendetta against you.
I hate him. And the thing is, I am looking at this whole thing now, knowing what you know, Ryan. Would you say that I'm actually looking at this pretty objectively from the Michigan side? Because I'm one that I'm actually sick of this crap.
Yeah.
And I should be one that should be on the forefront of screw them and they suck and get them the hell out of here. And I don't really even care anymore. I don't, because I don't think they're going to do anything to them. But back to the Michigan whole point of it, the inbox is just completely blown up at this point. Mike tweets. He goes, I believe you, but something tells me Steph, my wife, would have something to say about the college choice for her kid. She very much does, Mike. And my wife, I always say this. Like, I wasn't smart enough to get into Ohio State, so I was smart enough to marry somebody who went to Ohio State, my wife. She's smarter than me. She's better than me in a lot of things. She has a big say in this. Trust me, but I think she's on this. Do you want me to?
Caleb said Matt Fontana's OnlyFans is going to pay for his kids because he won't let him go to Michigan.
Don't nobody
because he won't go to Michigan.
Okay.
Matt rather have his kids play JUCO than go to Michigan.
If Leo had only one offer, I just said my son's name on the air. Sorry. If he only had one offer to have his college paid for, but he had to go to Michigan, would you let him?
Who are you texting, your wife?
My wife. Or say, we'll pay
no way
for you to go
You're crazy.
somewhere else. I just texted her. I said, if our son only had one offer to have his college paid for, but he had to go to Michigan, would you let him or say, we'll pay for you to go somewhere else? I just text my wife that. I'll tell you what she says when she texts back in here in a second. She's working, so she's in the middle of doing something important at work, and I'm texting her this stuff. Okay, let me wrap up the whole Harbaugh thing I got on this. So as he sits down, like, if you're a Michigan fan, your loyalty is to the program, right? Not Jim Harbaugh. Harbaugh's future, would you not say, Ryan, is now hurting the program? Yeah. Because as he sits down with these recruits, and I know that there's a lot more to go into recruiting than just the school. If you're good enough, are you going to get to the NFL? Are you going to get to the NBA? The feel, the vibe, like all of that goes into recruiting, right? But as you look at that, would that impact it? And I guess that's a question we don't know, because here's Harbaugh. He's the perfect guy. He's the perfect Michigan man to do all that. I know I brought Dabo up because watch, and I know Clemson has had some big recruiting over the last couple of years, and I respect people that follow that recruiting trail and stuff. I can't do it, man. It's a lot of stuff. But watch how Clemson starts to fall. Why? Dabo is anti-NIL and he's anti-transfer portal. In today's world, you're not getting anybody. There's nobody that's going to come to your school. So these type of things impact it. So the question is, if you are a Michigan fan and you are loyal to the program, do you feel like Jim Harbaugh is still the right guy for the job? And if you don't, and if you feel like he's going to hurt you in recruiting or hurt the team, then get rid of him. There's the easiest solution to this problem is for Michigan to fire Jim Harbaugh. With cause, they don't pay him any money, and I'm telling you, the NCAA and the Big Ten would probably accept that as punishment for what happened. Harbaugh can get what he wants. Probably wants to go back to the NFL anyway. And then he can maybe even, what if he just resigned to say, I want to avoid a suspension here so I can get right into the NFL? Because remember, the NFL said that they will honor a suspension if he gets suspended.
Yeah, Matt, let me flip the table in a hypothetical scenario for you. Let's say Ohio State, just for instance, Ryan Day, you flipped it. He's the head of Ohio State was stealing signals. Let's just say that.
Okay, let's say
how would you
every little thing that happened,
Yeah.
but it's Ryan Day in Ohio State.
So how would you feel as a clearly avid Ohio State fan?
Yeah.
How would you feel about Ohio State if they were to kind of use Ryan Day as that scapegoat?
Fire him.
Right.
Fire him.
Would you kind of look at it as disappointed that the school would turn their back on a coach like that and totally throw him under the bus? Or are you comfortable with that in the terms of it's a business? Would it affect the way you viewed Ohio State?
I completely agree, and this is a great way to flip that around. I'm an Ohio State fan. I'm not a Ryan Day fan. And for the record, sorry, I'm pulling time out for you. We'll do a quick time out today. I like Ryan Day. I know he's a lot of Kevin Stefanski. There's some real hate out there for Ryan Day. I like him. I think he's really good at what he does. But he's not irreplaceable, right? Let's say that all that happens. My first response would be, you were doing it, man. Because again, there's no part of me that feels like Harbaugh didn't know about this. And at the worst, and the worst excuse is you didn't know. That does not resonate with the NCAA. They hate when you go, well, I just didn't know about it. So that carries no water. And I would tell you this as a born and bred Ohio State fan. I'd fire Ryan Day. I would. Twofold. Number one, you knew what you were doing. This is your fault. This is your penalty. And number two, I'll find somebody else. People get so wrapped up into this. Yes, there are the Nick Sabans of the world. Almost everybody's replaceable. Just give that job to Brian Hartline. Go call Mike Vrabel. Tell me he wouldn't come back to coach Ohio State.
Fickle.
Somebody, oh man, who brought that up? Feinbaum brought that up. Could you imagine if Luke Fickell had just stayed at Cincinnati one more year and now all this Michigan, he'd jump to that Michigan job in 2 seconds?
Yeah, well,
wouldn't he?
Yeah, and the whole thing, I remember the year before he obviously left for Wisconsin, it was the Notre Dame job that opened. And
yeah,
I was
like, dude, I had somebody tell me this, and I think about this all the time. Life is all about timing.
Oh, yeah.
It is all about timing. And the same thing, if Fickell was available, tell me he wouldn't have jumped on that job. The whole thought of was he's using, which is fair, but it kind of sucks for Cincinnati. We're trying to not be a stepping stone program into something greater, like Fickell going from Cincinnati to Ohio State, but unfortunately, that's the reality that we're at right now in Cincinnati. Yeah.
But yeah, we kind of figured that was his ultimate goal. Just use it, and
it's always. I'm sorry to see you. But
go coach your alumni.
Yeah, it's a stepping stone. That really is to get back into the cream of the. We know that across college football, there are between 25 to 30 premier jobs. And sometimes you could turn a school into a premier. Dabo Swinney turned Clemson into a premier job. Like when I was at school, Clemson sucked. Like they were not very good. There was even years that Alabama was down. So you could read into it like, yeah, you could turn this program into something premier. But we know in the Big Ten, Purdue will never be a premier job. Illinois will never be a premier job. You could say that Dan Lanning has kind of turned Oregon into a premier job, but I think Oregon was always a premier one, mostly because the money behind it, right? And you could fill that list up with whoever you want. Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. I think Wisconsin is a semi-premier job. USC. I think UCLA should be. Chip Kelly's got that job, and he's done a great job of screwing it up. And I would say that really most of the SEC schools could be premier. There's a world that Ole Miss is premier. They're not there right now, but it could be. It's ups and downs with LSU. So Michigan, without a doubt, is a premier program. You're telling me that if they didn't fire Harbaugh, that they wouldn't find somebody else who's just as good? That is one of the things that have always intrigued me when it comes to Jim Harbaugh. Why do people think that he is just such a god? Okay, turn Stanford around. He had Andrew Luck, okay? He went to San Francisco, took them to a Super Bowl. Sure, good job. Good players on that team. He also left a wake of destruction there. And now he is at Michigan, where in 8 years, he has gotten them to a college football semifinal. Dude, he doesn't even have a national championship to his credit yet. Now, neither does Ryan Day, but at least he's had more shots at it. I don't get it. And Michigan even more so, because he's a god. He played here. I think he was an All-American, went to the NFL, and he's had all this success elsewhere. He was the perfect hire. He was the perfect hire where they prayed and hoped that he would have the run that Bo Schembechler did. And he was there for 30 years. That was never going to happen. Because I think of who Harbaugh is. He's kind of weird. You know what I mean? And it's his way or the highway. And that only goes so far in college. And obviously, he's not above doing some of these other unsavory things. It was never going to last. Cut your losses and move on. And that again, coming from the Michigan hater that I am, I don't even care if they fire him or not. Because it kind of goes back to, I don't think he's all that good. I would truly rather beat Michigan. I would always rather beat Michigan when they're at their fullest. I don't want any bullcrap excuses. And I love when we beat the hell out of them. I hate them. I hate them. So I don't want them to have any excuses or do any of that kind of stuff. Fire him or not, I really don't care. That's the weirdest thing about all of this. I don't care what the Big Ten does to them. I don't care what the NCAA. I just want them to do something. Or, like, just move. I'm over it already. Like, I'm over discussing all of this. And what's the impact? You're still going to play that game. And I'm also not one of these, like, blind fans that if Michigan beats us and they're the better team, I can accept that. I hate it. I don't want to do it, but I also will accept it for what it is. So do something. Let me do this. Michigan, Big Ten, Tony Petitti, NCAA, just do something, please. Just do it. So I don't have to talk about this anymore and we can move the hell on. We only got 10 minutes left on our show. Holy cow. You want to do time hop really quick?
Yeah, we can do it.
All right. All right, we're flying. This day, 2021, the Browns signed Wyatt Teller to a 4-year extension. Good sign, great trade, great player. I know there's a lot of people that have circled him as a guy that might not have a future with the Cleveland Browns. Dude, he's playing to an all-pro level again this year, and I hope maybe they can somehow find a way to keep him around. We talked about this. I don't even know if this came up a couple of days ago. This day, 2019, Chase Young was suspended for getting a loan to allow his family and girlfriend to come to the Rose Bowl. His 4-game suspension later reduced to 2 games. So there you go. This day, 2019, Ohio State beat Maryland 73-14. Justin Fields had 4 touchdowns. J.K. Dobbins had 2. I remember this because in my prior stop, I had to run the game this night. Do you remember when Ohio State was supposed to play Marquette on the USS Yorktown, the Carrier Classic? This day, 2012, they had to cancel the game because there was too much condensation on the court. They were playing on a aircraft carrier. In the harbor.
Basketball.
Yeah, basketball.
Okay.
I'm sorry, basketball, not football. Basketball.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They were playing, that'd be cool if they did a football game. They were playing on an aircraft carrier outdoors in November, and there was condensation on the court. They couldn't play it. Again, this has all kind of come up in a way. This day, 2011, Joe Paterno was officially fired by Penn State after the Jerry Sandusky scandal. I mean, that's it's so different. That was one that, like, I had just got into the media and reading this stuff, like, dude, that's just terrible. Absolutely awful. Another reason, too, why it's time to go. It's time to go. This day, 2002, Ohio State, undefeated, down with 1:38 to go. 4th and 1, down 3. Craig Krenzel drops back. Michael Jenkins, holy Buckeye! Ohio State beats Purdue this day 2002 with Holy Buckeye. This day 1989, the Berlin Wall fell. Probably a pretty important day. This day 1967, the Rolling Stone released for the first time. Have you ever read the Rolling Stone?
I have not.
I see the articles sometimes online, but can't say I've ever read it. This day 1965, the Great Northeast Blackout. It was the biggest power failure in United States history. All of New York, parts of 7 other states, and Canada impacted. 800,000 people were trapped on subways in New York this day 1965 with the Great Northeast Blackout. Happy birthday goes out to former Indians pitcher Chad O.J., French Montana, Chris Jericho, Nick Lachey, Cisco, and the Incredible Hulk himself, Lou Ferrigno, all celebrating birthdays today. Dude, I have so many movies for you today. It's insane, and of course we have no time. I'm going to try to go rapid fire here. Okay. This day, 2012... James Bond movie.
Which specific one?
Yeah.
Goldeneye.
Skyfall. This date, 2007. It just so happens I have a quarter in my pocket. If I said to you, Ryan, what's the most you ever lost on a coin flip? And I say, call it. You go, well, I got to know what we're calling for. Everything.
Sounds like Harvey Dent.
No, a little bit. Yeah. Don't put it in your pocket. Don't ever put it in your pocket. That's your lucky quarter. It's been traveling 22 years to get to this today. Well, where do you want me to put it? Anywhere. Just don't put it in your pocket.
No idea.
What? No Country for Old Men. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
That's a great flick.
That is a great
Anton
film.
Chigurh?
Yeah.
Javier Bardem, man.
Best picture.
Oh,
winner.
and he won Best Actor, I think.
Yeah.
You know what? They psychologist
Yes, I know
did
exactly
a
where
study,
you're going
and
with
they
this.
said that the most accurate representation of a psychopath is Anton Chigurh.
I've
from
used that
No
as my
Country for
final
Old Men.
question before for trivia.
Love it. No Country for Old Men. This day, 2005. I'm just going to go rapid fire. Get Rich or Die Trying came out this day, 2005. 2001, Shallow Hal. Oh, interesting flick. This day, 1990. I'll give you a hint on this one. Two Socks. The Wolf. Anything? Kevin Costner, Best Picture.
Two Socks, a wolf?
Two Socks was the name of the wolf in Dances with Wolves.
Oh,
That was the wolf that he went with. And then this day, 1984. If I told you don't go to sleep.
Nightmare on Elm Street?
Nightmare on Elm Street. Nice job. That's pretty good. Nice job. Nice job. Elm Street. Nice. Skyfall, No Country for Old Men, Get Rich or Die Trying, Shallow Hal, Dances with Wolves, and Nightmare on Elm Street. All this day in history. Do I have to do Thursday Night Football? Dude, what? Oh, my God. What a horrible game.
Yeah, it is pretty gross.
Carolina, Chicago, 3-point spread. It's at Soldier Field. Tyson Bagent will play the 1-7 Panthers. It's a 3-point spread. Carolina, they're not even covering as bad as they are. They're 1-5 against the spread their last 6 games. They're only 1-5 straight up in their last 6 games against Chicago. 1-5 straight up in their last 6 games at Soldier Field. For the Bears, 4-12-1 against the spread their last 17 games. 1-10 straight up in their last 11 at home. Place your bet, Ryan.
I'm just going to take the Bears. I don't really care.
It's a bad game, man. I will also take the Bears. Write that down. Chicago for us. Was it -3? Give me the hook there. 3.5, please. Chicago -3.5. This is a horrible football game. Over-under's 38.5. Yeah, I'll probably go Carolina. I'm sorry, Carolina. I can't even pick. Like, Chicago. This is just an absolutely horrible game. So, yeah, we'll see. All right. Update our Twitter question. At Matt Fontana Show. Do you believe that this is the biggest game for Deshaun Watson in his tenure with the Cleveland Browns? It's still, dude, 96, still 95%. People say yes. And then the other question we asked, have you ever taken a day off of work to go play a video game the day it came out? About 60-40 people say yes. Dan tweets Madden, the show, Call of Duty, and Halo. Atonks is Baldurus, Madden, or Browns Horror, Madden, GTA. Ryan says FIFA 14. So I think those are all pretty good games to get it done right there. Great show today. Appreciate everybody joining us. I know we got all fired up about that Michigan kind of stuff, but just kind of is what it is. So we'll see. Do you think we'll have something on this Michigan stuff here soon or no?
I think today might be a good day for it.
All right, we'll see how it goes. Browns back at practice today. We're gearing up for the weekend. Super excited. We can't go anywhere without our big play bracket of the week. Your favorite music video, Sledgehammer Gets It Done, and Hot for Teachers. So all 4 of those in the final. Vote at Matt Fontana Show for the greatest music video of all time. Thriller might be really, really hard.
It's going to be tough to beat. Hot for Teacher, though, was a pretty popular pick. So if anyone's going to give it a run for money, might be that one.
We will have to see. Great stuff on today's show. We'll rejoin everybody tomorrow. Don't forget, later today, 12 to 2, Chico. Great stuff coming up with Chico today. And then no weekly shows tonight, right? Because Booby's off tonight.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
All right, go back. Watch all the replays. Then tomorrow, big bets, big play with Dave, Nick, and, of course, Ted Ginn on that. And then, of course, we'll be back from 9 to 11. Chico coming up at 12. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow. Great Friday coming up. Feeling it. Really excited for the Browns this weekend. We'll talk some Buckeyes tomorrow as well. For Ryan Tyler, I am Matt Fontana. And as always, take it easy.